Okay guys, so today I'm going to share all my knowledge, my secrets, my tips on antique drinking glasses. So you make sure you stick around to the very end for all the information, and remember to subscribe if you want to see further videos on this topic or any other topic. Now I'm going to cover a lot in this video, different sections and things. It's going to be a comprehensive guide, so I'm going to put timestamps in the description to relevant sections. So if you want to come back and use this video as a resource for research or so forth, then you can either click on the timestamp you want or you can watch it all. It's entirely up to you, but the timestamps will be there for the different sections of the film. So, purpose of today's film, I'm going to talk to you about antique English Georgian drinking glasses of the 18th century. Now, I've been buying, collecting, dealing in the drinking glasses for the best part of 20 years. I'm going to discuss all the different types of antique drinking glasses. I'm going to cover how to identify antique drinking glasses, and then I'm going to cover how to value antique drinking glasses. Antique drinking glasses are not only beautiful, they are a big part of English history. And let me tell you now, when you hold and drink out of a 200 or 300-year-old drinking glass, the feeling is indescribable. If you went back, I don't know, maybe 10 years, then you would find a Georgian drinking glass in every car boot sale, every thrift shop, every charity shop, you name it. I used to get them all the time. I honestly can't put a number on how many times I've been to a car boot sale, rummaged through boxes on the floor and found antique drinking glasses in a box of mixed glasses that they'd brought from Granny's house, and they'd put no value on them at all. They'd simply say all the glasses 50 pence each, everything from a modern pint glass to an 18th century goblet. And honestly, you'll buy Georgian glasses 50p to a pound all the time at car boot sale. They're not so available now as they were a few years ago. There's less on the market and more people doing them. However, I'm going to show you a selection of 18th century drinking glasses at the end of this video, and all of which come off car boot sale within the last 12 months. Now, this is a massive subject. So if you want to learn how to date, how to value, how to identify 18th century drinking glasses or antique drinking glasses, then stick around and make sure you subscribe, guys, because I'm going to do a full range of videos on this topic. Now, it's very important to know what you're looking for with Georgian glass. There's many fakes and forgeries on the market. Even companies such as Whitefriars or Powell Glass were creating drinking glasses in the Georgian style, but much, much later. So it's safe to say that every glass prior to sort of 1775 has a sharp pontil. However, not every glass with a sharp pontil will date to the 18th century. So you can't just go, oh, it's got a snap pontil, so it's Georgian. So you really need to know what you're looking for. There's lots of different aspects you've got to take into consideration. There's plenty of good books on Georgian drinking glasses and antique drinking glasses in general. I've got quite a few books here, and what I will be doing is plenty of book reviews showing you in depth what these books offer and whether they're worthwhile buying and investing your money in. And I can tell you now, I've got a few books that have been almost a Bible to me, and I will share them with you in future videos. Now, glass isn't a new invention. It's been around since 3000 BC. Glass has been in England in one form or another since the 1200s. And one example of that is if you see the Westminster Abbey's windows. I'll put in some photographs of the Westminster Abbey and the windows for you now. However, even though glass was being made in England, there was a monopoly held by Venice on tableware made of glass. Now, the Venetians took this very seriously. Their monopoly on glass was ultimate. Now, if you divulged the secrets of the glass blowing to anybody, the sentence was death. That's how serious they took it. However, in 1571, that monopoly was broken, and the Venetian glass blowing techniques made it to England thanks to Jacopo Vercellini, if I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm not very good with my word names. Anyway, he created Venetian-style wares, of which there's a dozen still in existence, and I'm going to show you one now that's in the Victoria and Albert Museum. It's absolutely amazing. Despite Jacopo bringing the glass techniques to England in 1571, up until the late 1600s, we were still importing our tableware or glass tableware and majority from Venice. However, in 1676, a man named George Ravenscroft invented what he called flint glass, which we know to be lead glass or glass with a high lead content. And this was the birth of the English 18th century glass industry. A European glass was produced with a soda content, whereas now the English glass was made with a high content of lead oxide, which meant that the glass was very desirable. And because of this, you had glass houses or factories spring up all over the country producing glassware. The first period of glass was known as the Heavy Baluster period, and this dated from 1685 through to 1710. By 1700, any resemblance of the Venetian glass had long gone. Now you had much more usable, thicker-walled vessels. I'm going to splice in some pictures in comparison of a Heavy Baluster and the Venetian-style goblet in the Victoria and Albert Museum, and you can see what I mean by the difference, how fragile and thin the one is compared to the Heavy Baluster, the robust glass that you could use utilitarian and not worry about it just disintegrating. The English drinking glasses of the 18th century were made in three parts. You had the foot, the stem, and the bowl, all made separately and put together. The glassmaking techniques throughout the 18th century were constantly evolving. Now, this meant the glass was constantly evolving. So, for starters, you had a variation of feet throughout the 18th century. You had domed, you had conical, you had some with folded feet. As you got towards the end of the 18th century, they became flatter for firing glasses, things like that. The decorative stems evolved, started off with big, heavy nopes in naturalistic form to smaller, more decorative and multiple nopes. Then you had plain, elegant stems, moving on to facet stems and cotton twist stems and so forth. The bowls changed also in shape and decoration, starting off with a conical bowl or a funnel bowl, and then moving out through a massive variety from an OG to a square and so on. Early bowls tended to be plain, even though wheel engraving was being used from 1725, because this new lead glass was really, really good material for the wheel cutting. So from 1725, they were copper wheel engraving glasses. But early on, it tended to be just like floral borders and things. There are exceptions. There are some early glasses with some spectacular engraving on in the Victoria and Albert Museum again. Towards the middle of the 18th century and later, you start again a lot more elaborate and a lot more engraving, as obviously the technique became more common. Now, as you can imagine, this is such a massive subject. I'm going to do a dedicated video next on antique drinking glass identification. In that video, I'm going to talk about the different types of feet in depth, the different stems in depth, and the different bowls in depth. Glass of the early 18th century tended to have a domed or conical foot, more often than not with a folded rim and a sharp pontil mark, where by the end of the 18th century, they'd perfected glass cutting and they used to grind and polish out the pontil mark, meaning the foot could be flatter. So by the end of the 18th century, firing glasses and things had a flat foot with a polished out pontil mark. Drinking glass periods of the 18th century are categorized or listed by stems. Now, we already know the Heavy Baluster period was 1685 through to 1710, and they had big nopes like acorn shaped and things like that, after nature. And you wouldn't miss a heavy baluster glass. The stems were really thick and heavy. Now, glass was already evolving by 1710 to become lighter. However, the introduction of taxes on glass meant that a whole new period began known as Blasteroids. So let's take a little look at those periods. You had the light baluster, which was 1710 through to 1760. Then you had the plain hollow stem, which was 1730 through to about 1775. Folded and pedestal stems, 1715 to about 1765. A-twist stems, 1745 through to about 1775. Cotton twists, so whether you got opaque or coloured twist in the stem, around 1755, 1780, somewhere around there. And then you had facet cut stems, which were 1780 through to about 1820. Now, there are aspects you have to consider when looking at a drinking glass to know whether it is an antique Georgian drinking glass. You must look, first of all, how it's made. Is it made in 3 parts? You then look at the foot. What type of foot has it got? Next, you're looking at the stem. What period does the stem plug you in? Does the stem tie up with the type of foot? Then you're looking at the bowl. What's the shape of the bowl? Do the bowl, the stem, and the foot all tie up to the same period? Then you're looking at the type of engraving. Diamond point engraving, wheel engraving, so forth. Then you have to work out, does the decoration, the bowl, the stem, and the foot all tie in for the period? If the answer is no, it's probably a later addition that they've used earlier methods on. Then you're looking at colour. Believe it or not, there's a distinct colour on 18th century glass. And the earlier you get, the greyer the glass, it's got this oily grey tone to it. These are all factors in identifying and dating an antique drinking glass. Now, until you date an antique drinking glass and know whether it's real or what period it's from, you can't value it. Values of 18th century drinking glasses can start from as low as 30 or 40 pounds. This means they're very accessible for anybody who wants to start to learn to collect or anybody that wants to deal. On the other end of the scale, you got drinking glasses for a single glass going into the thousands and thousands of pounds. They are for the high-end collector who knows exactly what he's doing. Now, the glasses I'm going to show you today are all in the sort of 40 to £100 range. However, there's a nice selection of glasses. I've got some with folded feet and so forth, so I really hope you enjoy having a look at them. As I've already said, they all come in from car boot sale last year. Now, I bought them off a dealer who knew what he was selling, so I've paid, I think for the collection, it owes me about £90 to £100 for the entire collection. However, if I'd gone out and bought them at a car boot sale from the general public, they'd have cost me a couple of pound a piece. I'm sure all he paid was 50 pence and £1 a glass over a period of time. But some nice glasses, and I'm going to show you them now. And really, honestly, I think you'll enjoy having a look. Okay, so if we have a little look at some of these drinking glasses, I think this is the earliest I've got. I think this comes in the Blasteroid period. You've got a bobbin nope here, and you've got this drawn trumpet bowl. And if you look underneath there, it's got a snapped pontil mark and a folded foot. You see this inner line going around here, that's where the foot's come out and folded back over. So I think this one is probably around 1730. It's a really nice drinking glass. It's got a small chip on it up here, very small, but it doesn't affect the glass for me. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a nice early piece. You've got all the striations and everything, but I'll talk all about that in the identification video. So that's the oldest I got. Then you're moving on to this, which is probably around 1740, around by there, give or take. Beautiful sound to it. It's got a folded foot. You see that inner line, that fold where the foot's come over, snap pontil. And this one is a writhened dwarf ale, so this glass is twisted and spiraled. Now this glass has evolved. There's two versions of the same glass. Look at the difference in size, and they're next to each other, guys. And that is because the alcohol was a lot more potent earlier on in the 18th century. But look at the writhing, it's much more loose and also has a different foot. It's a flatter foot. So this one is dating probably closer to 1790, 1800 even for this writhing, where this one is about 1740. We have another here with this vertical molding on a drawn trumpet bowl, conical foot, snap pontil. And again, I'd say that's probably quite late 1770s, 1780s, something like that. But it's a nice drinking glass. And to be honest with you, it's almost a deceptive glass. It's so thick, the walls of the glass. So the actual measure inside would be really, really low. Again, another beautiful one. This one's all engraved. Really nice engraving all the way around. Little bows and ribbons or whatever you want to call it. It's got an incurved bowl, bladed nope, conical foot and snapped pontil mark. Again, quite a late one, probably about 1790, somewhere around by there. But a beautiful, beautiful glass. You got a little Georgian, what I'd call a champagne flute. So 3 parts. And again, quite late 18th century, but a beautiful glass again. We'll talk all about these glasses and others in a lot more depth at a later stage. But if nothing else, it's giving you a good variety, showing you the difference in styles and shapes. And this one is really probably early 19th century rather than late 18th century. Not a lot of sound to it, but that's because of the thickness of the glass. And you've got a really nice rummer here. Small chip on the rim there, but really nice. Now these go all the way up to about 1830. But it's still a nice glass. I used to get sort of 55, 60 pound just for one of those. And you're likely to pick that up for £1 in a box full of pint glasses. But just giving you a little glimpse now of the variations, you know, when you consider the difference on those two there compared to, you know, or even a Blasteroid. You know, there's a lot of variations for you to learn through. And then you come into a 19th century custard cup, all facet cut, little ball nope here, polished pontil mark on a flat foot. Again, beautiful glass. And we'll talk about dating glasses and so forth in the identification video. This is just to give you an idea. All of these have come off car boot sale. As I say, the old collection owes me about £90 to £100, somewhere on by there. Realistically, there's quite a few £100 worth here. There really is. Even though the two of them have got a small chip, one on the rim, one on the foot, they're still really, really nice drinking glasses. And to be honest with you, these are my favorite by far, not just because they're the earliest, but I just love what they are. Now, there's a version of these called a flamiform, where this writhing is actually on the outside of the glass, almost like applied on the outside. I've had one of those, only one I've ever had. And I think I had about £400 for it. So that's the ones you want to look for. I don't know what the prices are on them now because I haven't had one to sell. They may have come down over the years, but flamiform writhened is what you're after. They're the ones the collectors want. Excuse me. But all in all, it's beautiful glasses. Now, some people will say the ping doesn't, is non-existent. It's a load of rubbish. It's not. English glass had lead content, so it's like flicking crystal. Now, it doesn't all ping because of the thickness of the glass or the type of the bowl, but if you can get a ring out of it, you know it's not soda glass. So that's a big help at the very least. I think that's about it for this video, guys. As I've said, I'm going to make a massive collection of these videos detailing every aspect from identification, valuation, dating, you name it, it's all going to be covered. I think between the book reviews, looking at the drinking glasses, I've got some rare items, so I'll even talk about the rare items from the Georgian period. And I've actually had quite a few in my eBay haul videos of Georgian glass. I had that amazing Georgian Irish sweetmeat glass dish. If you remember, I bought that down in the Antique Centre in Cardiff for a £5. I think I sold that for £150. So it's still out there and it is good money to be made on it, guys. So really, you need to be looking for this. So if this is a subject you don't know anything about, honestly, take the time to watch the videos and learn. The other videos are not up yet. This is the first one in the series, but by the time you're watching it, they may be. But definitely, I'm going to create a playlist just for 18th century or antique drinking glasses. So go and check my playlist, guys, for anything in there. And I suggest you watch them. Honestly, it'll make you a lot of money. I hope it's been a helpful video for you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.